started making names right away. And I loved it. I was robbing drug dealers and taking their gold right off their neck. And the shit we did, who's going to call the police on you? A drug dealer?
I could identify with anything that was normal, to be honest with you. But I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Yeah.
99% of the time, you're going to disappear.
Just like the Donnie Brasco situation with Lefty.
Yeah, because the reason why, they figure it this way. You brought this guy around, he ratted on everybody, now he ratted on you. You might turn around and join him and rat on us, so we get rid of you. There's no connection between there and there, and they get rid of you.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today we're going to talk about the Gravano crime family. What's good, everybody? Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. So, we got Mr. Gravano on YouTube trying to act like he's this big mob boss and shit, when we all know what he did and who he is. You can't change the fact that you got out of prison after admitting to killing 19 people, and then you sell drugs with your family. That's the type of shit that these people do. This is him when he first got busted with them. He's the king rat, man. King rat. What's good, Ronnie from South Jersey? Shout out to South Jersey. Thank you guys for joining me, man. I really appreciate it. Billy the Kid, what's up with you, bro? Joy Farchi, what's good? Justice for Alan Kaiser. Salt, pepper, ketchup, what's good? Deadly, what's up, man? Tricky, Ricky, what's up, bro? Claudio, how are you? So, we're going to get into that part of the video that we were watching last time. And with Karen talking about her daddy. Daddy wasn't there. So, let's get into it, people.
Earrings and exotic jewelry, and then my father cooperates and I'm not even welcome in the house. They're told they can't hang out with me, they can't be around me, they're sneaking. I had a lot of...
Why would they want to hang out with you after your father cooperated? Your father's a fucking rat. It will never change. And she's saying that the people didn't want to hang out with her because her father cooperated. Like, so if you're in a family, say you're just in a normal family and your father is a gangster like her father, they end up cooperating. They shun the whole family sometimes. Like, you can't be in the street. She thought she was a little mob princess and shit. And she's saying that people used to see her anyway. And they would ignore the fact that her daddy was a rat.
Resentment too, just because of all that happening. Then after, especially when I heard about my brother and that situation, it just really turned me off. My father cooperated, but it turned me off about the people around.
She's talking about her brother's situation. She's talking about the fake hit that was allegedly put on her brother, which never happened. This is her brother Gerard. When the family got busted, it was a family affair. Mother, brother. This is the whole damn family. The Gravano crime family. That's what I'm going to refer to them as. The Gravano crime family. They didn't like it when the dude ratted on them, though, huh? Tables turn when who's that? Karen? Yup. They didn't like it when the tables turned and they got ratted on. No, they didn't like that shit.
Around me, like, even I didn't cooperate. I wasn't part of that lifestyle. You people, and I say you people is my father's crew, and everyone treated me like I was family, like you loved me, like there was nothing that could ever happen to me with you guys around. And then all of a sudden it's like I'm thrown to the wolves, and all because of what he did. That's what got me to start to think like this lifestyle's brought up on loyalty and respect and honor, but what did I do to ever disrespect someone? So all that love was fake because my father was the underboss. Made me start to question, made me want to know more, made me want to know why. Like I said, it outside of my own investigations, and my father, my uncle.
Honestly, I got something to tell you guys once this is all done. You guys, what? What? But it's plain to see. Come on, man. She got shunned by everybody. She loved Italian guys before she had a daughter with an African American guy. Loved Italian guys. She wanted to be with an Italian guy. Guess what happens after her daddy cooperates? Daddy wasn't there. Her dad was livid. And then the AB, right? Listen to this shit. I don't know if you guys know this, but Gravano had a show on his channel where he's talking about the AB. They respected me. He has a tattoo, an AB tattoo on his arm. You know why he has an AB tattoo on his arm. If you guys didn't know this, Sammy the Bull has an Aryan Brotherhood tattoo on his arm. And the reason why is because the Aryan Brotherhood marked his ass as their property. And if you don't believe me, go do some research. They marked him as their property. He must have been paying them off something, but he has an Aryan Brotherhood tattoo on his arm. And he thought it was because they respected him. They don't respect him. And I will get the sombrero on this motherfucker soon. They don't respect you. And if they did respect you, they're probably rats themselves. Because that's usually how it goes. Costanza, what's up, man? Adrian, what's up, man? How are you? I see you have a arch nemesis on YouTube, Adrian. He doesn't even want to mention your name. He's afraid that you'll take all his subscribers and whatever else. Called the fat bald douchebag. He's scared to even say your name, Adrian, about your podcast. Go subscribe to Adrian Invest in Yourself podcast right now. Go do it right now. Invest in Yourself podcast. Go subscribe to him. The fat bald fathead. He won't even say your name. He's afraid that people will be directed to your channel because he's a loser, man. So go subscribe to Invest in Yourself podcast. Adrian Martinez, he's got a good show. Some bullshit, man. We'll talk later. He was like, I'm not even going to say the podcast name because he was talking about the interview you did with Danny Trejo. The Colombo hitman, Danny Trejo. He was saying, he was just talking shit about that interview. He's like, I'm not even going to say the podcast name because he's afraid. He knows you're going to blow by him in subscribers. So go subscribe to Invest in Yourself podcast. He knows that video's coming out soon too. Man, I would hate to be him, bro. But anyway, let's get back to the story at hand. We'll get back to that other shit another time. We got time today.
Was actually on board and was the one that told my father he should cooperate. And, after my father cooperated, I was told I could never speak about it again, and acted like that conversation where I was part of in the MCC, it never happened. Of course, it wasn't my place to go tell other people around them. And when I did speak to my father about it, he said, don't say a word, that he'll handle it later. But it just kind of started to show me betrayal and understand that, people aren't who they say they are.
I can certainly relate to that also. With me, it's a little bit different because later on in life, my dad gets violated on his parole 5 times, which means that my family's falling apart.
Yeah,
My
he
dad
interviews
has
rats
basically
too.
5 opportunities.
Just like me, I interview rats too, man. Hey, they got interesting stories. You're not going to interview ex-mob guys without interviewing people who cooperate. That is the facts of the truth. Like, you're not going to get mob stories without interviewing people who have cooperated. So he does interview some people who cooperated, some people haven't. But that's the bottom line. Like, if you want these stories, you're going to have to deal with people who cooperated. Some of them, Some of them I won't even deal with. Honestly, I thought about it. I wouldn't even want Sammy on my show. I don't want him on my show. I'm good. Am I doing the DJ thing? Nah, man, I'm not doing the DJ thing, but I am working, bro. I do have a job. That's awesome, bro. Paul Tanzo said you might need a whip. Yeah, I don't need one right now, bro. I'm focused on things. I got a bunch of things that are going to be launching soon. You'll see. You're going to be like, what? Holy shit, man. I really been putting in a lot of work, and you guys will see. It's going to be pretty interesting.
To be at home and
I should be able to drop a little snippet of what I've been working on this weekend. I'll try to drop something Saturday, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be something really good. Wow.
Because we needed him. And each time, I would tell him too, I said, Dad, you got to get out of New York. I said, the family's falling apart. You can't keep meeting with people. And 5 times, in my view, he put that life in front of his family to great destruction. And so now I see things that say, oh, your father was a man's man. He made it till the end. He did that. He died with his boots on, which I have a respect for. Don't get me wrong, Karen. I really.
What about Michael Francis? What about his father, right? Michael Francis, his father, his own brother ratted out his father, put him in prison, and then Michael Francis lets his father die alone in a fucking folks home while he's got money, he's got this big house, and you can't take care of your dying father who's there for you your whole fucking life. You just leave him to die in a fucking in old folks home. You have his friend with him until he dies. Like, come on, man. Mr. Francis here, he plays a good sham on the internet. He wasn't loyal, not even to his own father. But let's see what Miss Piggy here is talking about.
I respect that. But in the same token, you had an opportunity to save your family, and your family was destroyed as a result of what you did. It was the first time I really had a confrontation with him, and I resented that. It's not that I would have wanted him to cooperate, but he had a different path. He could have left New York, taken care of his family with him, stay away from everybody, and not go back to jail. And he chose not to. So I don't know. So it goes both ways. I mean, I think we look at our dads differently. But let me ask you this. How did you, I know you love your dad. I know you wanted to repair that relationship. I know how difficult it is. Mine was difficult after I left the life, and my dad was upset with me. And
yeah, he did. Michael Francis did get caught cheating on his wife, man. There's a lot of text messages out there. There's a lot of the women that he cheated on his wife with. They exposed them all over the internet. This is not something that I haven't talked about this before, but it's not something that, I didn't look at it as that big of a deal. He was talking to women behind his wife's back, big deal. Like, but he comes across like he's this big God this, God that, and then he does grimy shit just like all these other people. Like, come on, this dude gets out of prison, right? He has every opportunity. He had plenty of money, plenty. The government let him keep all his money. And then he winds up, all of them being in prison because they want to be the Gravano rat crime family, thinking they were doing some big shit out there in Arizona. Man, the Mexican mafia would have mopped the floor with your asses if law enforcement didn't get you first, which they did. But I heard Gravano was out there. I heard Gerard mainly was out on the town threatening people with his dad's name. My dad, this and that. He'll put you in he'll bring you to the desert. You'll never be found again. Blah, blah, blah. Like he's this big mob guy. Get the fuck out of here, man. Fucking family of rats. They probably rat on each other to get out of that drug shit. I wouldn't put it past them. They probably did rat on each other to get out of that drug shit. I know one of the guys ratted on them. All of them. Took them all down. One dude was like, fuck that, I'm not going to jail. Hell no. Telling on all of them. How are you, Maureen? All right, let's get back to this video.
You betrayed your oath and all of that. But we built it back as far as we could. There was always a little something there that it was never quite the same, but I know he loved me and I loved him. How did you work on building that relationship? Because I know your father loves you. He and I spoke about it. He loves his kids. No doubt about it. No doubt about that.
Yes, I'm the one that's questionable. He always says I'm the one that.
Yeah, he loves his kids, but he'll have them selling drugs on the street and put them in situations where they could get killed. Come on, you don't think Sammy the Bull put his family in a situation where he could have got them killed when he ratted on everybody? Definitely. He didn't give a shit about his family. He didn't care about his family. He cared about himself. That's all he cared about.
Like him. You and Gerard get along fine, but I'm the one that's going to talk back. And I'm the one that's definitely going to voice my opinion. When I got to Arizona, after he came out of prison the first time, we started rebuilding our relationship. And like the first thing I wanted to know was why? Like, why did you cooperate? And I had to go through all these conversations with him, which there were numerous ones. And I just realized that he's exactly the man that I've known my whole life.
There was numerous ones. Did you hear what she just said? She said, we had multiple conversations about this. There was numerous ones, meaning he was flipping the script. He's telling her what he wants her to hear at the time. He's telling everybody what he wants them to hear. Come on, man. He wants to put these guys in jail. The government is like, we want John Gotti. We don't give a shit. You committed 19 murders. So what? We're going to put that to the side. He didn't give a shit about anyone else. His family could have got killed for what he did. He didn't care about them. If he did, he wouldn't have went to fucking Arizona. Schmiegel wouldn't have went to Arizona to go sell drugs with his family, be an ecstasy drug lord. He would have went off and enjoyed the rest of his life. And now, look at now, he wants to be a big YouTube star and shit. Come on, man. He doesn't care about his family. He cares about himself and his money. He'd throw his family under the bus if he had a fucking chance to.
He's my father, right? And his views on Cosa Nostra.
And then she wants to be all proud of Cosa Nostra. He was the underboss. Man, he broke the fucking code. That means you don't have any of that anymore. There's no loyalty. You don't have integrity. You ain't shit. Once you cooperate with the government, you are nothing. You're not a gangster anymore. That goes for you too, Miss Piggy.
It's his views. They're his lifestyle. I understand now, why he cooperated. I hate to say this like this because everyone's like, oh my God, but in that world, maybe he should have killed John in jail and we would have had a different outcome, but that wouldn't have been better for his family.
He should have killed John in jail. Can you imagine? This dude would not have attempted to kill John in jail. I could take you, I know that, Emmanuel. I could take your ass. What do you think? I'm scared of these fucking people? You must be out of your fucking mind, bro. He would have slapped him in the mouth, probably.
And the people around him. So I'm glad he didn't take that route.
He couldn't. He couldn't kill John Gotti. I'm glad he didn't take that route. He operated on orders from John Gotti. So how is he going to take that route? He ain't going to kill the boss. He doesn't have the balls to do it himself. He's an order man. He takes orders. He doesn't give them.
Just because it's never good when it comes to murder, right? So what I had to go through is better because at least I still have a relationship with him and we had the ability to mend. It was iffy. Like I said, when I first got to Arizona, I was he put a book out. His book had come out, and remember when I'm coming from New York, everybody kind of turned against me. We land in Arizona, and there's all these people like, oh my God, can we get an autograph from your father? Can they sign this book? And Gerard and I kind of let our guard down and let the wrong people around us. And of course, they were kids selling drugs.
Edwin, what's good with you,
do
bro?
You know anyone in New York? And it kind of made me almost feel accepted again being bad, right? Because I felt like if everyone turned against my father because he cooperated, if I'm bad, these people will like me. They won't want me not around. And
so do you hear her explanation about why they sold drugs? This is her explanation about why her and her family went to Arizona and sold drugs so she could be accepted by people. That's her explanation. They sold drugs so she could be accepted. Let me rewind it back so you guys can see that. Fucking insane. I can't believe she's even saying that shit.
It was iffy. Like I said, when I first got to Arizona, I was he put a book out. His book had come out, and remember when I'm coming from New York, everybody kind of turned against me. I think we land in Arizona, and there's all these people.
I think Sammy's a rat, man. I don't care if Calandra was hanging with him. Don't matter to me, man. Sammy's a rat. Sammy's a rat. It is what it is. And listen, this is over here, this is Chatting with Staxx show. So like I have no obligation to be like I know what you're trying to do. You want me to like talk bad about people, right? That's what you want me to do, Bill T. But it's not gonna happen, man. I like who I like, and I don't care what people think. And that's how it is, bro. And if you don't like it, go to one of these douchebags show and watch them. And that's how I feel about that. Let's get back to it. Let's listen to her explain why she sold fucking ecstasy.
It was iffy. Like I said, when I first got to Arizona, I was he put a book out. His book had come out, and remember when I'm coming from New York, everybody kind of turned against me. We land in Arizona, and there's all these people like, oh my God, can we get an autograph from your father? Can they sign this book? And Gerard and I kind of let our guard down and let the wrong people around us. And of course, they were kids selling drugs. And, do you know anyone in New York? And it kind of made me almost feel accepted again being bad, right? Because I felt like if everyone turned against my father because he cooperated, if I'm bad, these people will like me. They won't want me not around. And started getting involved in the whole ecstasy thing. And there was a point where my brother was going to go to New York and buy drugs from a kid that was trying to become a made member of with the Gravano family, and I knew that. And I kind of felt like maybe they were going to set Gerard up or do something. And that's when I told my father. And that's how my father got involved with the whole ecstasy. It's a long, drawn-out story.
Go ahead, why don't you tell it, Karen? It's a long, drawn-out story. So I call bullshit on her little story that she just told, because she just made it sound like her brother wasn't involved with the shit. She just made it sound like she went to Arizona and these people wanted her dad's autograph or whatever. And then she started getting involved with the people with the ecstasy. So, and then she brings her brother in, and then she explains to her dad about the ecstasy, and then he wants to be the underboss of the ecstasy ring. Is that how it went? Fuck crazy, man. Let's see.
Could sit here for hours and tell you about it, but he winds up coming in to kind of like guide the situation or maneuver it, and
to threaten people. Tell the truth. He came in there to threaten people and say that they were going to put him in the desert. He was threatening people because they were encroaching on their drug business. Tell the fucking truth, Karen.
It all backfired. We wound up going to prison, and he was angry. You know, he was very angry. He was like, you guys just didn't want to listen. We had an opportunity. We can change our whole life. And you know, I think that was the first time I actually felt like I had a voice, because I was like, well, you don't get it. It's everything that you put us through that made us do that. And it's like, if you weren't Sammy the Bull, this wouldn't have happened the way it happened. So you have to take responsibility.
So now she's putting it back on her dad. Do you hear this fucking crazy shit? Who needs to go to the bathroom? T? To the bathroom you go. See you later. Don't let the door hit you, with a good Lord split you.
Responsibility for what you've done prior, you know, and we'll take responsibility for kind of screwing up here. But the reality is, like, we've always stuck by you. Even being mad, I've never turned my back on you. And you know, if you're gonna turn your back on us because of this, he's like, I would never turn my back on you. And it's just, you know, we just realized we're not the perfect family. We've made a lot of mistakes, every single one of us. But the reality is, you know, we're still family, and we will always have each other's back. We, like I said, when something's wrong, we'll be there to protect each other. We try to provide for each other, help each other out. My father's stubborn. You know, I know that you know that a lot.
Okay.
He could be very strong-willed, and I have a lot of those tendencies. So him and I butt heads, but he is still someone that I know, like, he will always be there for me through whatever.
Yo, I'm going to drop the link in the chat if anyone wants to jump on here for a little bit. I got probably around 15, 20 minutes left that I could be up here. I got things I got to do, but I'm going to drop the link. If anyone wants to jump on.
So I will always be there for him.
Own every mile at the Hyundai Getaway sale.
It's funny because I have I have 5 daughters, and actually 4 of my daughters are really, well, no, let me correct that, because one of them wasn't, but now she is very outspoken, very independent, tell you like it is, the same way that you are, you know. And I'm glad to hear that you told your father that you're that independent, spoken. But it's also good to know, and I saw that in him, that, you know, he basically took the rap and took the heat for his family. And,
in that instance, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's a 20-year bid. I mean, that's a big hit that he took.
Yeah.
I would expect that of him. Any conversation I had with him about his family has always been great. How much he loves them. And until you walk in somebody's...
Yo, Faye says, hey, folks, check the mugshots on those freaks. They look pretty upset in these pictures, huh? They don't look like YouTube stars in this fucking pictures. Hilarious, man.
Shoes. A lot of people can talk about a lot of things, but until you've walked in those shoes, you don't know the whole situation. Yeah, he's doing his best, I think, to really turn his life around. What he told you, 20 years ago, I think he really meant it, and he's doing it
Yeah.
now. You know, so,
Yeah.
and I know you must be proud of that. You got to feel good about it.
No, I am. I definitely, you know, my father's, like I said, you never know what's coming out of his mouth. He's an interesting character, but he's funny. And one thing everyone always says is he has a way of telling a story that makes you, like, I probably think right now, like, I've done the Castellano hit because of the way he tells the story. I feel like I was in the car, and
Do you hear?
he has a way.
Now she's bragging about. Do you hear the giddiness in her voice? Do you hear that? I feel like I was on the Castellano hit. Do you hear that shit? And she was friends with Castellano's granddaughter. Now just think about that, people. She was friends, and she was like, I don't know why she didn't ask me anything about it. She fucking probably hates your guts. Like, look how giddy you were that you have inside knowledge about the Castellano hit. Like, you're a disgusting human being, Miss Piggy.
Things, but until you've walked in those shoes, you don't know the whole situation. Yeah, he's doing his best, I think, to really turn his life around. What he told you, 20 years ago, I think he really meant it, and he's doing it
Yeah.
now. You know, so,
Yeah.
and I know you must be proud of that. You got to feel good about it.
No, I am. I definitely, you know, my father's, like I said, you never know what's coming out of his mouth. He's.
Hey, yo, make sure you don't go watch Tony Soflo's show at 3 o'clock. Peace out. Don't come on my show and do that shit. Fucking scumbag. Piece of shit. Let's get back to the fucking show.
An interesting character, but he's
Don't become a victim, and don't make me put you in the bathroom, motherfuckers.
funny. And one thing everyone always says is he has a way of telling a story that makes you, like, I probably think right now, like, I've done the Castellano hit because of the way he tells the story. I feel like I was in the car, and he has a way, and he just has so much knowledge of things that happen. And you know, he's, like I said, he's that person, but he's also my father. So when the cameras go off and we come back to real life, you know, we just have a regular relationship.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, he is a great storyteller. There's no doubt about that. And I've sat with him a few times, but he goes on, and he makes it long. But you're interested. He's good. That's why he's so well on YouTube. You know, people are just into it. But you know, this is it's really gratifying to me. You know, and hopefully people that are watching this, because they've heard a lot of this same
Facts
stuff
over
from me,
feelings.
but hearing it from a woman, you know, hearing it from somebody that went through so much and has been able to come out of this and survive, it's really important stuff, because, you know, every family goes through something. Ours is a little unique. It's a little bit more dramatic, obviously, and you know, it's a genre that people are really tuned into and interested in. But every family has their travails, and you know.
Pretend to be Italian. I'm only 50% when I put 50% in your mom, Emmanuel. Peace out. Don't let the door hit ya. With the good Lord split ya. To the bathroom you go. Make sure you scrub the tile good in there, you scumbag.
Kids want to love their parents. I say that all the time, regardless of what they might have done. If you're at least a good parent to that child, you want to love them, and that's it. You dismiss a lot of stuff that went on in their other life.
So through my walk of life here, you know, I always thought, like, because of the situations that I had this struggle, and then I came across people who didn't even have relationships with their parents, and you know, I met girls who didn't even have a father. And that's one thing I can say, that having my father and his presence in my life definitely made me who I am. He gave me my work ethic. I mean, for my graduation present, I got a florist right next to his office, and it was like, here's the key. You're going to be here, the first person to open the door every day.
Yeah, because you weren't handed everything in your life. You weren't just handed everything on a fucking silver spoon. I was just handed the keys to the florist shop, and I was told by John Gotti and everyone in the neighborhood to go to my florist shop, or else what, they would be hurt or something, right? Because you want everything handed to you in life. She doesn't give a shit about the people that her dad killed, all the fucking families that he affected. What about Alan Kaiser's family? What about all those people? 19 people. So do you guys know how many family members that spreads out to? It's a lot. It's a lot of people. And I know that Sammy the Bull is not allowed in New York City. Ever. He's banned from New York City. He is not allowed there. Ever again. If you guys didn't know that, it was part of his plea agreement with the government that he will never set foot in New York City.
It drove me crazy when I was 19 years old, but it still sticks with me till today. And that's something that him being such a strong influence in my life, he gave me a lot of like the ground for, you know, what I want to do and how I want to even raise my daughter. My daughter is very business savvy. I call her, she does like merchant cash advance and she lends businesses money. So I call her my little legal loan shark. But she has that drive and that hustle. So outside of all the things that, I experienced in my life, I had a great foundation. And for that, that's why I'll forever be grateful to my mother and my father. My mother, I always thought my father was the strongest one until we had to go through everything.
What about the uncle that your father killed? What about your mom's brother that your father killed? If you guys didn't know, Sammy the Bull killed his brother-in-law, his wife's brother. And then he wants to get on YouTube and act like he's still a gangster after he cooperated with the government. Like, come on. It reminds me of some people I know. There's quite a bit of them out there.
I'll tell the judge and prosecutor suck my dick like I've done before. Okay?
Mr. Tough Guy, like all these other fucking rats. And the other guy that likes to hold the pom-poms for him. What's up? I like to drive drunk with my kids in the car. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for joining me, man. I like pretending shopping with my daughter. All right, let's get back into it.
She's the gangster. She's the strong one. She's the glue that held everything together.
Knowing the inside story of not only yourself, my family, who I had a tough mother, my wife, when I was away, she was very independent. I give her all the credit for raising the kids and holding the family together through all my nonsense that I went through and caused her and them, and that's true. The women don't get any credit. They don't look for it, but they're really the backbone of the family. Yes, I want to ask you a little bit about Karina in a minute, but I want to ask you this. My daughters, I would never want them to bring home a mob guy and get into a relationship with them because I know what it's going to cause them throughout their life, no doubt about it. But, my daughters seem to hold all their boyfriends up to my standard because I treat them right, and I do my best to be a good husband. But they also say, you know what, we like a little bit.
Hey, Karen, did your daughter hold up to your standards? How about Sammy? Hey, Sammy, did your granddaughter hold up to your standards, Sammy? Were you a little aggravated when you found out you were having a granddaughter with a black guy? Were you a little pissed off, Sammy? Little angry, huh? I know you were.
Bad boy. My one daughter says he's got to have at least a misdemeanor if I'm going to date him.
Yeah.
So
nobody wanted to touch your daughter.
How do you feel about that?
That's why.
Into, your personal relationships. Would you ever really want to be involved or be married or have a family with another guy that's involved in the life like your dad and I were?
Sammy is a well-known racist, man. He does not like black people. Sammy does not. He's a well-known racist. If you guys didn't, he has an AB tattoo on his arm. Aryan Brotherhood. He has the crest on his arm. The AB let him get it so that they know that he is property of the AB in prison. That's why they let him get that. Because he's their property.
Picket fence, and but because of who my father is, it's hard to kind of date. Like, I think people get nervous, or when I was younger, especially when everything was going on in the newspaper, I'm sure a lot of people said, don't bring that girl home. It's
Hey, yo, C-Town,
it's,
get in the bathroom, man. You ain't no
shoes to fill, I
gangster,
guess,
man.
in a sense.
Shut
And
up.
I do have an attraction to bad boys, but I
Don't
don't.
let the door hit you with
I
it.
now that
Lord,
I'm older,
split ya.
as I matured, I just want peace, and I especially don't want that for my daughter. I don't want her to be waiting on a visiting line or raising a child by herself, a single parent.
Why not? You
want
like
her
to
to be able
glorify
to just-
gangsters. Why not, Karen? You like to glorify gangsters. Don't you want your daughter sitting in the car like the Castellano hit so she could brag about how gangster you are, Karen? Don't you want her running around saying how many people her granddaddy killed? You're a disgrace, Karen. Really, a disgrace. Come out and say the truth. Say it's a disgraceful life my father lived. And I didn't hear her once say, I'm sorry for the victims my father has killed. I'm sorry for the families of the people my father has killed. Have you guys ever heard her once say this shit? I've never heard it.
just be comfortable. And like I said, when a person goes to jail, it's not only the time that they're doing, it's just the repercussions on the family. They kind of rip through everything. So no, I would love to have the white picket fence. I might have missed that boat, but I want the best for my daughter.
Well, that's great. I want to ask you this, as long as you brought that up. My mother, she coped with this fairly well for a long time. She fought for my dad's freedom. She visited him all the time, but she had to deal with what was going on in the household. When my dad was away, during that time, we were allowed 1 3-minute phone call a month and 1 visit a month. And so he was not part of the family, basically, when you're dealing with everyday life. And as things progressed, though, at the end of her life, she died in 2012. The last 4 or 5, 6 years of her relationship with my dad can only be described as ugly. It finally got to her, and she blamed him for everything that went wrong, and rightfully so. I mean, who else to blame? How did your mom cope with all of this?
My mother, honestly, I don't know. I still ask her, I'm like, do you need therapy? You want to talk? She laughs. But she always says, your father was definitely a good father, and he was a great husband. I think a lot of this has taken a toll, but she holds it all together because now she has grandkids, and we kind of just look at the bright side of things. It's a lot, my mother, I'll ask her, did you watch the YouTube? Or, she don't want no parts of it. She's more of a mom and a grandma.
Yeah, because she's probably done with you guys' bullshit. She thinks that you guys are just fucking, it's fucking ludicrous. She's probably so over you guys' bullshit and wanting to be in the public spotlight. You talk about the public spotlight with John Gotti wanting to be in the public spotlight. Look at you people. You would do anything for a fucking view or anything for a little bit of recognition. That's the type of people you guys are. But it's okay, because I guess that's what the world likes, a bunch of rats. So that's what you're going to get, man. So we'll be back with more. Don't worry, I got a show tonight with the 3 bills. We're going to get into some of the Mussolini, and we're going to cover a lot of mob history tonight. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be around 7 or 8 o'clock. So the 3 bills tonight, don't miss it. Hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. A lot of stuff coming. Saturday, big things. Peace, everybody. Have a great day.